Hello everyone and welcome to the latest Jargus Ranger Review. This week we'll be looking at the 16th episode of Megaforce, Rico the Robot. So this time we start out back on the War Starship finally, and Megaforce says he's getting impatient and he's running out of time to defeat the Rangers before the others arrive, whoever they are. And so he tells Rock that he's going into a cocoon, and when he arrives he will be powerful enough to destroy the Earth himself. And Rock is telling him that he's a fool and he'll end up being destroyed and he'll usurp his power. And he sends some kind of little ship out into space. Now right from the start, this is reminding me of Lost Galaxy. Being inside a cocoon, becoming more powerful, someone trying to use that to gain even more power. It's very reminiscent of that season. Much like Deviat and Scorpius or Trakina. Now back on the Undersea Lab, Rock has Alice make another new robot. She calls it Robot 1C0. And when she has to fight the Rangers, she doesn't have an attack and it's brought to its knees after one attack. So she calls it useless and leaves. Robonite tries to destroy it, but Emma intervenes and tells him no, because it looks scared, and maybe that attack's scramble and it's harmless. Well, the robot doesn't do anything, so they try to find something out about it. Emma says it must be sad that it doesn't have any friends. And then Jake, being the lovable douchebag he is like, of course he has no friends, he's a robot. Jake, you dumbass, don't ever change. So the other Rangers start teaching Rico, as Emma calls it now, to start playing a few simple sports. And she's sitting with Gio on the bench. And they have a little chat. Gio's wondering about taking him in because he doesn't have a mind, he just does what he's programmed to do, just like Robonite. And she's got quite a serious look on his face, and it could have led to some tension between the two Rangers. But instead Gio just says that Emma's just that nice and that's just how she is. Which is a shame, they could have really gone farther into that. Maybe add a bit of depth to the characters with that scene. But instead just reinforces the personalities they already had. So then a bit later in the day, they're having a small picnic, and Rico gets kind of sad because he wants to eat grapes, but he can't because, well, he has a robot and has no mouth. But the Rangers reassure him that they'll always be best buds, and that makes the simple machine happy. And then Emma decides to start taking pictures of him, which I don't know why it's just her that has her pre-existing traits constantly brought up. The others are really not brought up anymore. Nothing about. Once they start taking pictures, there's light in the middle of Rico's chest that starts blinking. So they take him to the command center, which if they were tracking them would be a very bad idea. It turns out that's a sensor that receives orders from Metal Alice. So while the Rangers are figuring out what they should do, because they know he's a potential threat, Rico runs off. Luckily Emma finds him in the middle of a forest, and it doesn't look like it was just reused this time. I have noticed they're starting to reuse the park scene several times lately. He says he doesn't want to hurt his friends and he wants to be free. So the Rangers devise a plan to maybe destroy the sensor while still maintaining the rest of Rico. They're basically gonna have Emma shoot an arrow to pierce right through that sensor and destroy it, while the other Rangers use their powers to contain any kind of explosion that might happen. But at the last second, Emma hesitates and she says she can't do it because she doesn't want to risk hurting him. But then Metal Alice shows up. She claims it was all an experiment to see how much friendship can weaken their Rangers' decision making. And then she gets an order from her tablet, and it makes Rico go into, I guess, his battle mode. His arms become cannons, and he's forced to fight the Rangers. But Robonite shows up and he doesn't hesitate at all. He just fights it head on. Tells Emma she's thinking too much like a human, why she couldn't fight against it. Emma tries to reach out to him, but she just gets punched and shot at, because it's like a cannon arm. So the Rangers decide again to try stopping his sensor, and it might bring the regular Rico back. And this time, Emma is serious, and she's not going to hold back with doing that. And to keep him from moving anywhere, Robonite just uses freeze guard to put him on ice. And I just love how casually he just does that attack. I guess he would be pretty stark being a robot, Robonite. So after doing that, Rico goes back to normal, and he's friends with the Rangers again. But Alice makes him go and reactivates what energy is left in the sensor, and the Rangers have to fight in the Megazord. But luckily, Rico is still able to resist her controls. And while he's trying to do it, Emma just goes on the command ship solo, yes, by herself, and no, she didn't say YOLO, and uses it to grab Rico and just bring him upwards higher and higher. And while she's doing that, Robo Knight just goes after Metal Alice, who was about to have Rico self-destruct. So the two of them start fighting for a bit, and he doesn't go around to breaking her iPad. For shame, Robo Knight. And eventually, Emma gets Rico high enough that he's out of range of anything Alice can do from her tablet. I guess even robots from space still rely on simple Wi-Fi. When would these aliens learn? Apparently he has some thrusters on his back and he can fly. So he flies off towards space, towards whoever. And Brock is a little angry, more so this time that he failed, because time is short before Melkor will reawaken, and that would be no good if the Rangers are still around. Then the episode ends with a little photo montage of scenes of Rico already, and the Rangers reminiscing of the one day they had with him. And that's the end of this episode. Oh man, this was a good episode. It just went by so quickly. I'm surprised it was over as fast as it was. Actually, I'd give it an A. From the looks of things, whatever's going to happen at the end of the season is likely going to spill over to the Super Megaforce season, because the army from the Legend War is probably going to show up right at the end of the last episode, given there's only 4 left, and that's going to lead into the very start of Super Megaforce with the Legend War. So everyone's looking forward to that, and they're definitely building that up. Can't wait to see how that is resolved. And this was a bit unique where the Monster of the Week was not really the Rangers' enemy. That rarely happens, and it's kind of like the Wasp with a Heart episode from In Space. No, I can't remember that one too clearly right now, so I can't give a more detailed comparison. It was a pretty clever way of ending it, just flying him out of range of control. And the action was really well done too. No awkward cuts like some of the early episodes were. The thing I don't like here is that a lot of the characters are not getting expanded. I mean, Emma and Abedajia are having a ton of moments that help define them. And so is Jake, just by making an idiot of himself. But for the most part, they haven't had any character development aside from the first few episodes, which I'm kind of disappointed in because they could have taken a lot of things further. But who knows, we got some episodes left and there's no telling what we can still see. Because I'm really looking forward to how they handle the end of the season. But definitely give this one a watch. The time will just fly by the time it's over. Anyway, it was Jargus here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Until then.